In my soul, it's so hard to let go. But the God that I know never ever let me go. So much pain in my soul, it's so hard to let go. But the God that I know will never ever let me go. See, when my mama died and then my daddy died, I never seen the look I seen in my grandma's eyes. She said, son, I'm tired. I said, I'm tired too. Lost my mama dead in the same year. So what I'm supposed to do? Oh, it's gonna be hard for me. It's gonna get hard for you. Granddaddy told me, son, I'm gonna live through you. Do all you gotta do.
Welcome to Rightly Divine the Word. And today we're going to deal with a broken clock. Some would say a broken clock is right twice a day. A broken clock is right twice a day. So today we're going to deal with the doctrine of brokenness. The doctrine of brokenness. So many of you are suffering from post-election stress disorder. You're feeling broken, you're feeling sad, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling like you don't know what to do. So, we're going to begin at Numbers 15:31. Because he hath despised the word of the Lord, and had broken his commandment, that soul shall utterly be cut off. His iniquity shall be upon him. So many of y'all are feeling like the sins of America, the brokenness of America, we are cut off. We are cut off from God. So, in your times of lamentation, as you're thinking about this thing, we need to consider why you have such feelings. Why you have such feelings. So, brokenness. Do you wonder why we go through this or why America has a 4-year cycle? And in between those 4 years, we just live in life and we only feel broken when it's time for the election. But many of you ever wonder why you go through life is going so well, and then you hit a rough spot. You do something bad and you feel broken. Why does this happen? Why do these things happen? So, Hebrews 12, starting in verse 6, from whom the Lord loveth, he chastens. So who the Lord loves, he chastens, he breaks you, he stops you. Scourge every son whom he received. So trial by fire, he scourges you, he shapes you, he forms you. And look what it says in verse 7, Hebrews 12, verse 7. If ye endure chastening, so if you endure this brokenness, God dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the father chaseth not? And so parents get this because every now and then you have to chasten that child. You have to break them down. You have to have a hard stop so that they learn, so that you teach them, so that you show them the warning signs of things that can be detrimental to them. So you get it. So you get it. So you get it. And so that's what brokenness sometimes feels like we're being punished. But the question is, why are we being punished? Why? And clearly it says here, if you endure the chastening, if God dealeth with you as a son. So God is proving you. God is shaping you. God is forming you. God is making you a better person. So be grateful when we have those hard stops. It allows us to reflect. It allows us to think about things, to ponder, to figure out where we went wrong. So let's look at it this way. Psalms 34:18. The Lord is near unto them that are of a broken heart. So God is near when you're feeling downtrodden, when you're feeling broken, when you're shaking your head, when you have those headaches, in the times of post-election stress disorder. And guess what it says after that in the B clause, Psalms 34:8, and save such be as of a contrite spirit. So when you're broken, when you stop to take that hard look, when you go through the healing process, when you become apologetic, when you become sorrowful, then you can rebuild. Then you can start to see why these things happen. So hopefully you don't repeat the same pattern. So moving forward, as time goes on, you ever wonder why the founding fathers of this country installed the 4-year election cycle? Well, if we read our Bible, it says that God installs every government, every king he put in place. Every king he put in place. So when Moses encountered Pharaoh, God put him in place. When Israel encountered Nebuchadnezzar, God put him in place. And God gave him a 7-year bout of paranoid schizophrenia. When Israel was exiled, he put Cyrus in place, and Cyrus delivered them out of exile. So God puts every government into place. But why the 4-year election cycle? It's a hard stop. And every 4 years, the country say we're broken. Yes, we are broken. That's why God installs this 4-year stop so that we can reflect to see where we at. So we can reflect to see where we are at so that we can ponder the things to come, see if we learn from our mistakes. So we can learn from our mistakes. So now that you know that brokenness is not a bad thing, and yes, every now and then we're going to get it right. And every time God, when you get it wrong, he's going to chastise you. So now that we're more optimistic, let's see what Hebrews 12, and we're going to end off in verse 8. But if ye be without chastening, whereof all are partakers. So if you're without chastisement, and he say we all are of that, then ye are bastards and not sons. And so if you ever look at kids who were undisciplined, who were spoiled, who was left to their wiles to hang out all night, do whatever they want, smoke in the house, just do anything. And when they end up in therapy, they always say, my parents didn't love them. Why? Because they didn't get that chastisement. They didn't learn how to have discernment. They didn't learn how to have discretion. And so God is clearly saying, if you're without chastening, then ye be bastards and not sons. We're not his people if we're left to our wiles. If we're left with reprobate minds, we are not his. So, moving forward, here's the real take-home question. Although we know a broken clock is right twice a day, you never get this sentiment that a clock that is not set, it is always wrong. A clock that is not set is always wrong. It is never on time. So 2 Timothy 3, we're going to begin in verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And then Paul goes on to explain, the things that are happening. Then he talks about traitors and right traitors of the faith. And he caps it off, or he ends it off with this statement in verse 7, 2 Timothy 3, verse 7. And he says, they are ever learning, never able to come to the knowledge of truth. Ever learning, never stopping, always into something. See, a clock that's never set. It's never on time. Either you're too early or you're too late, but you always missing the mark. Ever learning, never able to come to the truth of knowledge or the knowledge of truth. See, people, brokenness is a good thing. It allows us to take a hard stop to reassess so that God can chasten us, can correct us, can reprove us. But as I'm going to state again, a clock not set, a clock not set is always wrong. Peace.
CAA game, man. Scriptures say, man, that God's mercies are new every morning, man, No matter what's going on, man. It's another day, man, to be grateful, Another day, another blessing, wash my pain away. I've been through tough times, but now I'm seeing brighter days. I put my faith in God, cause really ain't no other way. I'm serving God behind these bars like I lost the case. My city on my back, I'm from the go. Put that cross on my back, shorty, so I can't never fall. I'm tryna live this righteous life, I'm on a narrow road. Still got some scars, but that pain to really make me grow. They mention hard times, but never fall. I know what life feel like against the road. Without them trials, you would never grow. And without that rain, your faith will never show.